Scott Cook coming to you from Flying Field Outfitters. We're up on Crane Prairie this afternoon. We're going to talk a little bit about indicator fishing and channel fishing. Crane Prairie is a reservoir, very shallow, and there's some old riverbed channels in the reservoir that have some deeper water in them. You know, this time of year, average depth is about 9 feet deep. The channels might be 11 or 12 feet deep, so it's not a big difference in the depth. But those little divots, if you will, the fish use them as highways to get around the lake, and there's some good chronomated midge hatches that sometimes can happen in those areas. So we're going to use a couple different tools here. One of them is a buoy. This is a buoy with a lead anchor and kind of a kite string attached to it. This will mark one edge of the channel. We're out on the boat today, and I've also got a depth finder that has a temperature gauge and showing some other areas and whatnot on it here. So as you can tell right now, we're not quite in the channel, but with 6.5 feet deep, water temperature is 48 degrees. That's pretty cool. And these are some GPS markings and whatnot that we have going on here. If you could see, the channel is actually those two little red lines right there, and we've got some GPS markings on there from previous. We're going to go ahead and mark the channel and where we're going to be fishing here. So I'm going to give you some readings off of the depth finder as we roll through here. The transducer's on the back of the boat, so the reading's coming off of the back of the boat, and that's what we're going to want to, where we're going to want to mark it. I'm going to use this buoy to mark one edge of the channel. The reading right now is at about 5 feet deep. And we should just be coming into the channel now. Yep, there's 5, 6, 6.5, 7, 9, right there. That's the edge. We're coming across the channel now. 9, 10, 9, 8, 5. There's the other edge of the channel right there. So we know from the back of the boat right now to that buoy over there is the deep water pocket. That's the channel in which the fish are going to be cruising through. So we're going to spin around, we're going to drop down the anchors, and we're going to fish in between the boat and the buoy, knowing that that's the depth that we're looking for. Okay, so we've marked the edge of the channel with the buoy. I've circled the boat around to the upstream side of the channel, so the wind or the current is at our back here. I've dropped both anchors down on this side of the boat, and we're going to be fishing from this side of the boat. The buoy is out there, and we know from this edge of the boat where the channel drops off, that from this edge of the boat all the way over to the buoy is at a certain depth. It's a set depth, and it's a deep water pocket. I've got a 9-foot 5-weight Sage X here with a 5-weight indicator line. This is a Nautilus FWX reel in a 5-weight. I've got a 9-foot leader with about 18 inches of fluorocarbon tippet attached to it. And then I come down to one fly. This happens to be a tungsten assassin, which we sell at the shop. And then I'm coming down to a small size 18 pheasant tail. I've attached a forceps, a pair of forceps to the bottom fly, and I want to check my depth. Again, I know because of my depth finder on my boat and how I've set the anchors in the buoy that right here is 11 feet of water. I'm going to throw this overboard, and it's going to sink my indicator. And this is going to be a judge of depth. So I could tell right there that the indicator is about 12 inches underneath the surface of the water. The physical weight of the forceps has brought the indicator down, and it's underneath the water. I'm going to now bring it in and remove the forceps from the bottom fly. And I'm going to cast it out. I prefer roll casting in this scenario. I'm going to drag it back, power it out, and I'm going to be fishing in between the boat and the buoy. And you can tell the indicator is pretty much set right in between where the buoy is and and where the boat is. So I know that I'm right in the middle of the channel right there, which is pretty much the deepest part of the channel. And that's where I typically start with my first cast. Once I feel like my indicator has settled and my flies have settled, I've got a floating line, an indicator, and then a 90-degree angle coming down to a 2-fly rig. And again, the depth is set exactly where I want it to be so that those flies are 1 foot to 2 feet off of the bottom. I'm going to now start, once I feel like I have that 90-degree angle, it might take a minute or two depending on your depth or how heavy your flies are. I am going to start some type of retrieve. My retrieve is just a slow tick, 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 enough to move my indicator 3 to 5 inches back towards the boat. And I'm going to do that basically every 20 to 30 seconds. That's going to give that fly a little vertical action. It's going to swim up and then it's going to settle down. So the time that you wait in between your stripping motion is very important for the fly to settle back down. And then I'm going to tick, 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 and that's going to bring that fly back up just a little bit, and then it's going to settle down. If you get a strike at any given point, the hook set is a straight vertical set straight up to bring pressure on the fish and fight your fish from there.